All right, today we're going to talk about the blues a little bit. You can never talk about the blues enough. Remember that that jazz essentially evolved out of the blues, and so there's always something to learn in the blues. Today, what we're going to take a look at are well, specifically is the flat three blue note. But let's just talk about sort of the evolution of most guitar players. Most guitar players tend to start, I mean, in my teens, I was doing, that kind of thing, and then I'd wail away on the pentatonic scale for about 20 minutes or so. Um, but that's not where we're going. However, that's not to say that there's not value in that pentatonic scale, because there is value in that pentatonic scale because we know it works, but it doesn't always work in a jazz context. It's a little less operable, shall we say. Um, so where we're going to start today is with a blues in B flat, which I have on the screen here in front of me, and that blues in B flat, the reason I'm choosing B flat is not to stay away from the happy guitar keys of C, A, G, E, and D, right? But more so to invite horn players to play with you, because horn players like B flat, and tons of jazz standards are written in the key of B flat, E flat, F, that kind of thing. All right, in flat keys. So we're going to take a look at the key of B flat. And just so the pentatonic scale doesn't feel lonely, we're going to take a look at the pentatonic scale as it relates to the chord of B flat. So there's no doubt that that works. Okay, so let's talk about why that works. All right, in terms of the notes. The first thing I notice is that in a B flat 7 chord, you'll notice that this third here of the third of D in this case is a major third. Right? It's a major third. But in the blues scale, I'm playing a flat third. So I'm actually playing a minor chord against a major chord, right? And on that one chord, when I'm playing the pentatonic scale, as a matter of fact, if you look at the pentatonic scale, listen to the pentatonic scale, it's so closely related to the B flat minor arpeggio, or any minor. So you can see that there's only one note difference between the B flat minor arpeggio and the pentatonic scale. The pentatonic scale just adds that fourth. Pentatonic scale and the arpeggio, right? So effectively, what the pentatonic minor pentatonic is, well, it's called a minor pentatonic because it's minor, but we're playing it over a major chord sound, right? A triad with a seventh, right? So what's with that? Why does that work? We're only talking about the one chord right now. The reason it sounds cool, one of the reasons it sounds cool, is because we've got that B flat note. That D flat note, that flat 3. very different than if I were to play the major 3, which is in the chord, right? So that's the major third. That's a very different sound, and it's not nearly as bluesy sounding, not nearly as funky sounding, not nearly as it doesn't bite nearly as much because it's just an arpeggio, an arpeggio note, right? Okay, so we're going to call that note the flat 3 or the blue 3. We're going to call it the blue 3 because it's essentially a minor third against a major third, which is a pretty interesting thing in itself. It's like the a very, very simple way of applying parallel harmony, right? Minor against major from the same tonic. Okay, good. But here's the deal: that when you go to the 4 chord, the E flat 7, most players are still going to continue to wail on on their in the barroom blues thing. They're going to continue to wail on this and that same pentatonic scale. But when you get to the E flat 7 chord, the 4 chord, you don't have that blue 3 anymore in that chord. You do have the flat 7, and I'm not going to go into an in-depth explanation because it can get boring. Let me just say this: that the pentatonic scale does not apply in the same way to the 4 chord and the 5 chord as it does to the 1 chord, obviously. You see, because in that style of blues playing, we don't look at each chord as being a tonal platform. We don't look at each chord as being the a new key, essentially, right? So B flat 7, we're in the key of B flat, right? E flat, we're in the key of E flat. F, we're in the F7, we're in the key of F, and then back to, I shouldn't say the key of F, I should say the tonal center of F, tonal center of E flat, and tonal center of B flat. And so we're looking at each one of those tonal centers as a new tonal platform, right? Okay. Now, so the big difference between one of the big differences between a jazz approach and sort of the bar room kind of that kind of thing is that you're not going to use the same scale form, scale sound as overall the chord changes. What we do here in a jazz format is separate each one of the chords as its new tonal center. And so in order to do that effectively, we're not going to totally toss out the pentatonic scale. We might revisit that later. But in order to take a more chordal approach, here's our B flat 7, and here's our B flat 7 arpeggio. All I'm doing is just playing all the notes of B flat, and you can hear that, but it doesn't sound. I mean, it sounds right, but it doesn't sound bluesy, not very bluesy, right? And we're going to deal with that. And the same thing comes to the E flat. Now, with the E flat, we play the, over the E flat chord with our arpeggio. I'll play it slowly so we can track that. So it's just a vertical arpeggio. And then finally to the F7 chord. arpeggios. And if we played it like that, like in a really pedantic, dry kind of way, it's not going to sound bluesy at all. It's going to sound, well, not even going to sound right, because it's not going to sound bluesy. No, it'll sound right. I mean, the notes will sound right. The notes will sound, everything will be fine. But, you'll be yearning for that, like, well, where's some bluesiness here? Well, in each one of those arpeggios, we do have something that is pretty bluesy, and that's, we've got the seventh, and the seventh is really a blue note, right? I think that's, so yeah, we've got the seventh on each one of those chords. If we go to the E flat, right? So I'm just using the arpeggios, and yeah, that works. I mean, so what's to be learned there is there are some notes that are more bluesy than others. The tonic isn't going to be bluesy at all, and the fifth is not going to be really bluesy at all, right? But that seventh is going to be sort of bluesy, and the major three, is going to sound, sort of okay too. Okay. But what I want to get, so you get the idea, it's not a wasted time to take a blues progression like this and just work through it in arpeggios, straight arpeggios. It's hard just sticking to those arpeggios, but it's good because it gives you a template, right? And that template will we can manipulate that template. We can manipulate those arpeggios by using some blue notes, and the first blue note that we're going to use is the flat 3, like we found in the blues scale, right? Not the blues scale, in the pentatonic scale. Blues scale is another topic. So in the minor pentatonic scale, we found that flat 3. That's a minor sound, and we're going to place that minor sound in these arpeggios in each one of the arpeggios, right? So in a B flat 7 arpeggio, we're going to have we'll start with the flat 3 way down on the bottom. So we have the 1 flat 3. And then to the major 3, and then flat 3 to the major 3. There you go. You hear what we're getting at. That's starting to sound a little bluesier, like already. If we combine the seventh, which we said is a bluesy note, and then we combine that with our flat 3 and our major 3, right? Right. That's bluesy, to me. And I think it'd probably be bluesy to anybody. So we have flat 3 down here, and then up on the top, right? We have the flat 3 there, flat 3, and then flat 3 on the lower octave. Okay. Good, but now what we want to do is we want to do exactly that same thing with an E flat 7 chord, because remember we're on a tone. Each one of these is a tonal platform. Each one of these is like its own new tonal center, right? And so we have here we have the arpeggio 2 with the flat 3. Yeah, you hear that flat 3? And wherever you hear a semitone, you'll know that that's going to be the flat 3. Right? Right. And then the flat 7 below the root. Right? So you hear that flat 3, and then finally with this arpeggio here over the F7, we have the flat 3. Okay, so, and then we can get that flat 3 on top. Okay, good. So you get the idea. I don't know why I'm looking at this screen here. Not like I'm looking at anything. It's going to help me. Yeah, that's funny. All right, I'm not used to looking at this, so I have to get used to that. So now check this out. Here's a blues, right? It's just the simplest blues of all. Now, written here in like a Nashville numbering system. 1. There's our 1 chord. And then a 4. And our 1. And our 5. And our 4. And our 1. Let's turn around to the 5. Rather than just repeat. Yeah, if you don't turn around to the 5, a lot of people play a blues in this way, right? But if you don't turn around to the 5 on measure 12, you're going to actually be playing the 1 chord for 6 full measures, right? Like meaning you've got, the last 2 measures on a 1 chord, and then another 4 measures on the 1 chord. There's a good chance that could get boring. And so what you want to do is you just want to turn this around to the 5 chord, right? The 1, 5, and then the 5 goes back to the 1. It's just a little thing, but it helps, right? Okay, now if we take this blues thing here, and this progression, imagine you're hearing a backing track. I'll sort of indicate the chords too. So I'll take it at a nice tempo. 1, 2, and with these flat 3s, 3, 4. Okay, good. I think I'm nailing most of it. You can hear that flat 3, and there's now. So you know what I'm getting at now. But now you can start to expand on this by building in some cool little licks and ideas. Right, double stops work great. Right, that's a really nice double stop. And when we get to you can do the same kind of idea when you get to the 4 chord. Right, there's my 3, flat 3 to the regular 3, flat 7 down here, and right, and building those little lines is a real a benefit. Okay, so let's do that. So what you're doing is you're working on the arpeggio, and then you're working on the flat 3 going to the major 3 in each arpeggio. Now, when you're descending the arpeggio, I invite you to do it in this way. Let's say we're coming down. Let's say I'm going up. So try to hit the flat 3 right first. It's a better exercise, and it sounds more logical. So it's the flat 3 going to the major 3, ascending and descending. Okay, great exercise. You can also extrapolate this up the fretboard, and so for instance, we can take this key of B flat way up here, and then to E flat, and then to F, and then to B flat. Right, same chord voicings, right? But you're starting to work further up the neck, and so so again B flat, and then E flat, F, and they're my. You get the idea. I'm just starting to show off or something. And so the idea is, if you can do that, you can start. You'll start to link up. The fretboard. You'll have two regions that you're going to get cased underneath your fingers, and you're doing the same thing all the time. You're just doing that flat 3. It's hard to sometimes just stick to the flat 3 because there are other altered notes that we could use, and that's not what this lesson is about. But the flat 5 is an obvious one, like the blues scale with the flat 5 in it. But that's for another time. So I hope this helps you. Just to recap, we're every time you solo in a more jazzy sense in a blues, what you're doing is taking each chord and treating that as a new harmonic platform. And then what we're doing with the arpeggio, because you want to define each of the chords, and then if you by making them sound bluesier, what you're going to do is require notes like the flat 3 moving to the 3. The flat 3 is a great blue note to start with. And that 7th that's in each one of these chords, or the flat 7 that's in each one of these chords, is a chord to emphasize. Between the flat 3 and the flat 7, you have the tritone, right? Super important. That 3 and that flat 7 are give you those tritones, and they bite really, really nicely. Okay, there's lots you can do with those. They do a lot of crazy things that we can talk about later. Tritones are crazy. Tritone is an equal division of the octave. Take an octave, 12 notes, split it in half, you got a tritone. There you go. And tritone on one side, 3 tones on one side, 3 tones on the other side. Right? It's just math. It's like, and that's really one of my strong subjects, hardly. Okay, good. Thanks for stopping by. I hope this was a help. This is blues in B flat. Naturally, it's going to work exactly the same way in all the other keys as well, right? So again, you should be taking this to other keys. Do it in at least 2 regions of the fretboard. Learn to read your chord progressions with the numbering system. I'm trying to use that more frequently. 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, and so on, right? Okay, and I think that's about it. And so, if this is a help to you, click subscribe and click like, and please comment if there's anything that I screwed up. Let me know. and let us know what you'd like to hear us do, right? And if there's a song that you'd like us to analyze and play and figure out, we'd love to do that. So yeah, have a great day. Thanks for stopping by, and that's blues with the minor third, the flat three blue note through arpeggiating each of the chords in a blues, a basic blues. Great. Have a great day. See ya.